Can you see me? Uh-oh, what's going on? There we go. How are you on this Friday? I hope everyone is having a great day. And I hope everybody's eyebrows look perfect today. So, yeah, it is Flub Up Friday. And we're going to have some fun. Hold on, I'm getting over to Facebook so I can make sure we're on and focused. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Cindy. So yeah, we're going to start airbrushing and we're going to mess up. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Hey, Heather, Sharon, Mizzy. And so in the last hour, what we did is the concealer and spraying it under the eyes, making sure you're not spraying too much or spraying too long in one area or squinting. Or anything, that's like, I need some food, or anything like that. And so again, with airbrushing, we're going to go do the same thing. So I'm going to mess up. I'll start with my, Nay, I saw it. That was so cute. Love the video. Hey, Sarah. All right. I'm going to go in and I'm going to put quite a bit of drops in here just because we're going to mess up. And I think I'm going to put my little cap on just in case. You know, the airbrush machines do come with this little cap, which is great to use when you first start out, because anytime I'm teaching somebody, I'm like showing them the movements and they're all over the place. So it's very helpful to have this so you don't get the makeup if it does fall out. That even happened to me this morning. I wasn't paying attention and some of the makeup came out and I only use a couple of drops. So sometimes it is very helpful. Yes. All right. So now I'm going to turn on the system. I do have my drops in here. Now remember when you are, thanks, Dave. That's funny. If y'all are wondering what we're referencing, I learned how to do taco tongue. Yeah, that's right. I did. I can do it now. So now I'm going to spray the foundation. Now, of course, if I was doing the concealer or anything like that, I mean, of course, I'm going to put that on first. Well, not of course, because sometimes you can put it on afterwards if you wanted to. But I normally will put a little bit of concealer on my lid and then some underneath, and then I airbrush over that. Now, when you're doing foundation, you want to make sure you're holding it at least 4 fingers apart. Now, sometimes when we start out, that's hard to remember because we're used to touching our skin and we actually end up getting it closer and closer. But the closer you are, the more precise it is, okay? And I'm going to show you this on my face, which I probably should have done a darker shade, but we'll do it this way. Oh, I still have some of that brown in there, so that'll work. All right, so if I'm really, really close, you can see that little spot right there. And I'm not moving, I'm not airbrushing how you're supposed to be. Now I'm going to move it back and then see how the circle gets wider. Okay, so if I'm holding it 4 finger widths away, that's how big that how the spray is. And then if I'm doing it the correct way, I'm holding it the 4 finger widths away, but I keep moving, and I'm going to spray too much so you can see it. And so you can cover that whole area. It's so it's not as wide that I think we envision in our heads where we're like, oh, is it going to get everywhere? No, it's not going to get everywhere. It is very precise. So it's not, you know, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, you see me airbrush every single day and my hair is pulled back, but I don't have a headband on it. Nothing. I mean, it's only going where I point it and where I want it to go. So if I was taking, let's say, a foundation brush, or if I was going to buff on, hey, Andy, if I was going to buff on my foundation, this is how I would do it. Okay? That movement is exactly what you're going to do with your airbrush. Is you're going to, I'm not going to pull back on the trigger right now, but I can go around and around. The moves are very deliberate. So I'm not just doing that. I'm going under the eyes and moving down and blending and going the jawline. So the movements are very deliberate. The one thing, troll-free Brian, the one thing you need to remember is that you do want to keep moving, but what you want to do is barely pull back on the trigger. So that's the one thing you want to practice. And you can practice with water. You can practice with a moisturizer primer. You can practice with a shade that's not yours. Hey, Leora. So again, you just want to practice on pulling back on the trigger, because there is that sweet spot. You'll have one, it's like right there. Oh, maybe it's a little bit too wet. Okay, let me do less. Is anything coming out? If you're questioning whether it's coming out, then that's perfect. And I know that sounds weird because that's against everything else we've ever done with traditional makeup, but that's how we want Luminess. That is how you airbrush. Oh, no, Julian. No. So you just keep going around, and making those passes. With traditional makeup, if I was putting traditional makeup on my face and putting the dots all over and then buffing on and all of that, then if I needed to add more, I would still have to go back and do it everywhere. With airbrush makeup, you don't have to. I kind of like Jeezer. All right, so now I'm going in. I'm going to hold it 4 finger widths away and start making my passes. So barely pulling back on the trigger. I can feel like there's already coolness where the air is. And keep this in mind too. If you sat there and closed your eyes, not pulling back on the trigger, and just went around your face, you can see, or actually feel, the air. And so wherever the air is going is where the makeup's going to go. And so obviously when you're putting on your makeup, you're going to want to open your eyes, but just think of the air, and you can feel where the makeup's going to go. Oh, I need to put more in there, because I use one. Put my drops in. All right. And I am using shade 3. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Oh, one quick thing that I just thought about. When I'm doing this side, or when you cross over, a lot of times I spray at an angle. Make sure you flip this around and spray directly to the face, if that makes sense. Because a lot of times I will spray to my hair or on my jewelry or something because I'm at an angle. So make sure to really go all the way around. Oh, awesome, Christina. So again, going on the forehead. Hi, Linda. Making my passes, doing it until I get the coverage that I want. And guys, as you're watching me, it honestly should look like magic. You should see the redness, you should see the flaws, and then you see me going around and around. You're like, is she spraying anything on her face? But then all of a sudden, my face should look flawless. And it should look, even. There shouldn't be any redness. There shouldn't be two-tone. There should be just flawlessness. spray my eyes, my lids. And it's not getting on my eyebrows. That is how precise. Some of you might say, I hope it does get on our eyebrows. I don't know. And then I can blend it down my neck. It is magic. And so I'm just going around and around under my eyes. Now with this one, I didn't even use concealer. I just went straight to airbrushing. So again, depending on what you need to cover, you might not need any extra. You might can just go straight to airbrushing. But if I do feel like I need a little extra and wanted to use a concealer or eraser or the color corrector, anything like that, you can do that before or after. Now, certain things you'll want to do beforehand, like the color correctors and different things like that. The CC concealer I did yesterday. I did it after the foundation. And that you can kind of get away with that because it's flesh color. It's your color. But like a color corrector, those kinds of things you want to do beforehand because then you want to cover it with the foundation. Yes, if it feels sticky, if it feels wet, if it feels any of those things, then yes, you are spraying too heavy or too long in one area. I'm going to add a few more drops because I do want to do the Kleenex test. And so I'm going to get a Kleenex out and fold it and make a pass. Okay, so now I can take my Kleenex, hold it to my face, nothing. That is how fast it dries. It should dry pretty much on contact once you are putting it on. So it should not need that extra time to dry. Now, if you're doing it and you're like, oh, okay, mine needs an extra time, then just know that it should be dry pretty much on contact. And if it's not, then you need to work on pulling back on the trigger. Maybe you're pulling back too much, or maybe you're holding it in one spot too long and you need to keep going, keep going, keep going. But just know that that's how it should be. If you're not there yet, that's okay. You're just going to keep practicing. Every time you have this guy in your hand, the more you're going to learn, the more you'll become an expert, and it becomes second nature to you. But just know that. Don't freak out if you're not getting it the first couple of days or whatever. We do ask you to do the 7-day challenge, meaning use it 7 days in a row, and by that 7th day, you'll have it down. We had somebody on the first live chat that's like, hey, I used it for a week, but I'm having trouble underneath my eyes. So that's something we worked on. You can always come back and ask us questions just like that. And I change whatever I had planned will change if you guys are asking me questions about certain things. I can change things up to show you how to do this. So please come back, please watch, and hopefully learn from what we are doing. And that's why I like doing the Flub Up Fridays, is because a lot of times something, you might be doing a little something wrong, and then we just need to tweak it. And I mean, it never fails when we have people come on and say, oh, I did not like this, and it was awful. It didn't do what it said. Well, how long did you try it? And what do they say? A day. Well, guess what? You're not going to be an expert the very first time you use it. That's why we say 7 days in a row. So come on back. And I promise you guys, if you are not loving Luminess, come back and ask me questions, because I promise it does what it says it's going to do. It is amazing on everybody. It's going to look flawless. It's going to be what you want it to be, but we just need to tweak how you're doing it. And so ask me questions. Have a lot of knowledge up in this noggin, and so I want to share that with you. So please come back and learn. All right. Don't be scared. It is okay. Donna, you're so funny. Don't give up. That is so true. Skincare is amazing. Yay. Ooh, went to happy hour with no makeup on. I love it. And that's what we talk about with our skincare. Our skincare is amazing, and it's going to help your face. And so with Luminess, you're using 10 times less makeup anyway. And then if you're using our skincare, you're going to be using less makeup. So there you go. All right, guys. I hope you have a great Friday. We are back. We're back at 3, not 2 this time. We're back to our regular hours. So I will be back at 3 o'clock today, Central Time, and we'll have some more fun. I'm going to finish the look, which we have a lot to do. Oh, Julian, that's exactly what people do. She said my first day, she goes, oh my, I tried to put it on like regular foundation. And that's what people do. If you're not familiar enough with it, if you haven't been watching the lives, that's exactly what we do. We think it's going to be like regular makeup or traditional makeup, and that's how we put it on. That's the only thing we know. And so it is different. It's a different way of applying it. So it's going to take you some time. So there you go. Oh, yay. Rhonda just got the Connecticut. It's amazing. I love hearing all the good stuff. Had it down at a cooler temperature, but Arizona. Ooh, girl. Arizona is dry. At least you're not sweating like Houston. All right. All right, guys. I will see you back here at 3. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.